I'm very excited about this. So this is the first time I've received an email from a company that I actually... The birds, I'm sorry. I'm trying to film. Oh my god, I'm so excited! Y'all! Does this make me like a proper influencer? I can't believe this. And I did make it clear that when I do review products on my channel, which lately it's been mostly vintage items, but when I do review them, I am very honest. That's something that I didn't want to compromise on, and the point person who I've been in communication with, she told me that is totally fine. Give an honest review. So this is number 1, Simptap acrylic marker set, and number 2. So here they are in all of their glory. Hello, hello, Julie here, and today I'm super excited to be working with an art supply that I've been wanting to try for quite a while now. And I know a couple of you have been interested in this as well. Lo and behold, Arrtx acrylic markers. I've seen tons of videos about these bad boys, and they just seemed so satisfying to work with. If you're not familiar with these markers, they're a fusion of different art supplies. The permanence of acrylic, the finish of gouache, and the convenience of a marker. What a beautiful Frankenstein of a combo. Now, I've mentioned in the past how gouache was an art supply I just could not get behind for the longest time. I found it messy, difficult to work with, and not beginner-friendly in the slightest. What made this turn around for me was a combination of becoming more comfortable with creating art in general. 8 years and counting, cough cough, along with the whole jelly gouache craze. Not only did it normalize quality and affordability in gouache, it also made me realize that the way an art supply is delivered and packaged can thoroughly impact whether or not you enjoy working with them. Having these paints packaged in easy-to-use jelly containers where you just pop the lid open and instantly have access to a wide range of colors is so fabulously convenient. And the fact that these paints are affordable means that you can practice with them until your heart's content without the stress of quote-unquote wasting more expensive paints. Acrylic markers as a medium might be my gateway into falling in love with acrylics, just as jelly gouache was to gouache for me, which has become my second favorite medium, FYI. And I truly believe this to be such a beautiful thing, when you can learn to love an art supply that you've struggled to love for a long time. Bringing it back to the medium in question, last summer I took an intensive acrylic course at a local art center hoping it would be what I needed to fall for the medium. It all but left me really frustrated. Like, when I say frustrated, I mean I cried during class in front of my teacher. How embarrassing. Granted, I was going through a quasi-breakup at times, so emotions were heightened. But from the very start of my art journey, I just struggled so much with acrylics. Can you guys relate? Is there like a medium that you've always wanted to fall in love with, but it just never worked out? No matter how hard you tried, you just, low-key despised it. Maybe it's the act of squeezing paint out of the tube that just doesn't appeal. The setup and cleanup, the fact that if you squeeze out too much, you've just wasted a bunch of paint. Maybe it's that if I've got the itch to paint, I don't want anything to get in my way. Or maybe I'm just a lazy gal. Like, whatever the reason, acrylics have never been my forte. But I have a feeling this will turn around. Cough cough, spoiler alert. Because while spending the past 2 weeks messing around with these acrylic markers, I think I'm slowly beginning to believe in love again. I'm in the midst of another quasi-breakup. Same person, okay? I know. Also, my beautiful, wonderful bird Paprika, who is actually on my avatar photo and I feature him in some of my videos as well. He is sick. He's getting a little bit better, but I don't know if he'll ever make a full recovery. So yeah, my world is falling apart. I could use a little bit of love right now. That's all I'm saying. The markers featured in this video are the Arrtx Simptap acrylic markers. I have both the 36 and the 48 sets, which were very kindly sent to me by the company. Yep, you heard that right. After years of posting these random art videos on YouTube, I actually have something tangible to show for it. And yes, I'm blushing. I'm very flattered. Thank you, Arrtx. Now, disclaimer. While I was sent these markers, I was not actually paid to make this video, nor was I asked to review them. All that's expected is to feature them in a video. And the wonderful marketing representative I've been in contact with gave me full permission to share my honest thoughts, concerns, and opinions about these markers. In fact, she encouraged it. I would not have accepted them if I were denied this request. I've actually been offered quite a few products in the past, but because I don't recognize the companies behind them, I choose not to move forward with having them sent out. The reason why I gave these markers a chance in the first place is because they're from a familiar company that I recognized. Not only that, but I own a few of my own Arrtx items that I've purchased in the past with my own money, and I do like the quality of the items, so I figured, why not? Anyways, with all of this noted, let's talk about the markers. Now, the only other acrylic markers I've worked with are coincidentally also an Arrtx product. They're the water-based acrylic markers with bullet nibs, and I bought them years ago. I don't even remember when. I will say I am enjoying the formula of the modern-day markers so much more. I find the paint flows a lot nicer, they're easier to activate, more opaque, and the fact that they're permanent and not water-based is huge. If they were water-based, you might as well be working with gouache. And I don't know if you guys remember the video I posted on the Korean poster paints, but in that video, I alluded to an art conspiracy theory I had that acrylic markers were actually just gouache inside pens. And that was based on the assumption that they were water-based. Since the acrylic markers I owned were water-based, I assumed they were all the same. But no, these being permanent, total game changer. They're probably closer to an acrylic gouache, I'd imagine, just looking at the finishing, but I don't know for sure. I've never worked with acrylic gouache, so I really can't say. Let me know your thoughts. These Arrtx Simptap markers are the very first brush nib acrylic markers that I've worked with. And the nib is a game changer. You can actually make beautiful pieces with this without being so restricted. And that's a big reason why I didn't reach for my old acrylic markers often. They just weren't versatile or fun to use. It's the same with alcohol markers. The brush nib makes a massive difference. And it's pretty interesting to think about how something so small can impact your love for an art supply. I didn't enjoy working with alcohol markers at all until getting a set with brush nibs. And I guess this goes back to jelly gouache versus gouache in a tube. Sometimes delivery matters. I also have to say, I fully 1000% support the decision to make acrylic markers with the finish that they have. Matte and flat, ooh, delicious. It makes them unique, punchy, and very satisfying to play with. The difference between regular Arrtx acrylic markers and their Simptap line is the press to activate valve system. All markers come entirely unactivated. In order to release the paint, you need to press on the top mechanism to open the valve, and the paint will be released down to the nib. Every time you'd like to resaturate the nib with more paint, you need to press down again. I think this is a great idea in theory, and I'm not sure if ink overflow is a common issue in acrylic markers in general. Because if it is, then I can see why they made the decision to add this valve mechanism. The thing is, the paints leaked quite a bit while trying to activate them. And it's not just the case of pushing on the top cap, but it also involves some shaking to get the nib fully saturated. It was a messy process, and if I had my head on straight, I would have clued in sooner that when I press down and shake, I should probably keep the lid on. But still, you don't expect drops of paint to be expelled from the marker while you're doing this. It's just not something that you really clue in on. So yes, I did get a splash of paint on my favorite pans. I've since salvaged them because I washed them right away, but make sure you put on an apron or some old clothes while you're using these, especially while you're activating them. So yes, it was a messy process to get them all activated. I got paint on my desk, on my mom's table, shh, don't tell, on my floor, and on my clothes. Since these are permanent markers, I did panic. So definitely keep the lid on when you are shaking. The thing is, they didn't just leak while shaking. Sometimes they just leaked by tapping the top valve. Other times it was during regular use. And I'm not saying it splashed everywhere while you were using it, but sometimes while I was painting or while I was pulling the lid off, I would get a few droplets on my desk. They are leaky. I'm sure Arrtx is aware of this because it is a common criticism in their reviews, whether it be here on YouTube or on Amazon and different websites that carry them. So I am hoping that if they do end up creating a new iteration of these markers, this will be something that they'll consider in their redesign. Also, for something with this valve technology, the ink flow wasn't always controllable. After they were activated, I didn't need to press on the top to have an overflow of ink in some cases. Some of the markers were just a little bit too juicy, which I know sounds like an odd criticism, but especially when you're trying to utilize the brush tip and get those smaller details in, I did have to paint some parts over just because too much paint was expelled. I actually kept a paper next to me to essentially wipe some of the excess paint off before going back into my art piece. So yes, in terms of the design of the valve, I do think there's some work to be done. I understand the idea behind it, but there is room for improvement. In terms of paint quality, oh my god, fan-freaking-tastic. I love how beautifully these paints sat, how much coverage they have, the colors available. They're just so much fun to use. Like with markers in general, they're not so much designed to be blended as they are to be used straight out of the marker. You are able to blend a little bit, but for the most part, you reach for the color that you need. And unlike alcohol markers, where you could put one layer down of one color and then another layer on top and get a completely different color, these markers are so opaque that if you try to cover one color with another, you'll just end up with the last color that you put down, which is not a bad thing. I think it was really cool. I love how opaque these are, and I think that's a great selling feature of these markers. All of this is to say, I don't think I would enjoy working with these if I had the 12 or 24 set. I think color variety is just too limited. The 36 set has a good range, and the 48 set has all of the markers in the 36 set, plus an extra 12 colors. I created a comparison chart here showing the additional markers in the 48 set, alongside similar colors included in the 36 set. That way you can make an informed decision as to which set you want if you decide to get them. As per everyday use of these markers, I'll have to play around with them more and keep you posted. I really want to try using them to paint on notebook covers and also on fabric. I wonder how that would turn out. That way we can see how they work on different surfaces. Because I think this is meant to be a big appeal of acrylic markers as a whole, how they work on different surfaces. Let me know if this is something you're interested in seeing. I can fully see myself working with these markers to create future pieces in my sketchbook, and I could see myself using them to add accents to future gouache pieces as well. I think they lend especially well to that. I'm not one for working with bright, bold colors, but these markers really had me planning my art differently. The versatility of watercolors is just unmatched in my opinion. If I want to mix a very specific skin tone color, I can do exactly that with a limited palette. But in the case of the Arrtx Simptap markers, being limited in not only the colors themselves, but also the opacity of the colors, forced me to commit to what I put down. It was scary, if I'm being honest, but also kind of exhilarating. Punchy art has never been my forte, but I think it's something I'd like to explore. And I do believe that these markers will help me do exactly that. As for the art piece itself, I really like how it turned out. Unfortunately, I couldn't track down the original photo to give credit where due. I thought I had a link to the original source, but I found out that it was just someone who reposted it. So if you know of the person in this photo or the photographer, please do let me know so that I can link their accounts down below. I really sincerely apologize about this. I like to credit my sources. And next time I'll be sure I have the original source 100% before I create an art piece that I post here on YouTube. I think what really made me want to paint this beautiful woman with these markers specifically was the colors and pattern of her blouse. It lended so well to these Arrtx markers and ended up being such an enjoyable process. Once I got over the initial panic of working with a medium I'm just not accustomed to. I will say, I did somehow manage to take a cool young hipster and turn her into a middle-aged auntie. I just wasn't able to capture the vibe that the reference photo was putting out. But hey, a hip ajumma is someone I could get behind 110%. Those ladies are so cool. Thank you, Arrtx, for sending me these markers. I really enjoyed using them, and I'm looking forward to playing around with them some more. After trying them out, I can say with 100% certainty that I am an acrylic marker convert. I like them a lot, and fingers crossed this leads into a love for painting with acrylics in general. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will link the markers down below, and Arrtx has very kindly offered a coupon code as well, so have a look down in the description if you're interested. Like, comment, subscribe, or don't. You don't owe me or anyone anything. What I've got so far. I fixed a little bit to make her face a bit more symmetrical, including her eyes and her glasses. They're still not perfect, but good enough. I'm really happy with how it's turning out so far. I was nervous at first. I wasn't sure that it would come together, but as soon as I turned my brain off and just focused on creating art, all of those nerves went away, and I feel like it's come together pretty well. I must say though, the original reference photo looks like a very cool gal. Look at her, she looks so cool. Whereas my version kind of looks like a middle-aged auntie, which is fine. I love me my middle-aged aunties, but not really giving off the same vibe, I think. And I will say, this photo is all over Pinterest, but I cannot for the life of me find the original source. I've tried, I've searched the internet for about an hour, I did a reverse image search. All of the links led to dead ends, so if any of y'all know where this reference photo is coming from, please do let me know. Okay, so we have a few things left to do. First, I'm gonna line her, but I've decided I'm gonna use my navy blue Pentel Energel pen in size 0.5, aka the best pen in the world. Also, fully aware that you could hear the birds in the background, I'm not gonna move them. I'm not gonna move them because we're keeping this live talking portion short and sweet. They're happy, it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna let them fly around after this. What can I say? Birds will be birds. Anyways, I'm just gonna line her and I'm gonna do it super rough, and I feel like it will tie the whole piece together. Let's see if I could find you an example. Just like this piece here. I painted this using my Altoid paint set that I got from the alternative art shop, and I decided to line it super rough and loose, and I feel like it ties together pretty well. And in this case I used the black version of this pen, but I can't find a black one and I'm too lazy to go hunting for it, so we're going with blue. Have a beautiful day, and stay tuned to a couple different videos in the works. One being a life update video, not so much a Q&A, just kind of a sit down and chat, a bit of a get to know me type of video. I know, very self-indulgent, but my videos tend to have a very specific purpose, and I don't really leave room to insert bits of myself or my personality, so I really want to have a video just kind of focused on that because, you know, YouTube is a big part of my life, and I think it would be nice to put a little bit more of me into them. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, so there's that, and then also one that I've been teasing for a long time now. I know. I thought it would be up already. What can I say? Life got in the way, but it's the 100-year-old Polish paintings from the Second World War. This video will be my next long form video, I promise. So I try to post every Tuesday. I alternate between long form and short form videos. So that means that video should be out in 2 weeks. As usual, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. There are some of you that comment on almost every single one of my videos, and it truly warms my heart. I really love hearing from you guys. And with all of the content out on YouTube, I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch what I put out. It means the world. So until next time, happy creating, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.